This video is about context. It's about the work, experience and research that sit behind the conversations that follow. I've studied retirement for over 40 years. My work began when I was running pre-retirement programmes at the Post Office in North West England. I've been interested in the whole topic about retirement for over 40 years. It's a lifetime really, isn't it? Way back, 40 years ago, I was a welfare officer working for the British Postal Service, and I was probably the youngest they'd ever employed. It was generally older people at the end of their career, but I'd got a degree in psychology, and I think they were just like looking to change things about a bit. And I was a bit like a Citizens Advice Bureau stroke counsellor for the staff. And one of the things I had to do in my job was to run pre-retirement seminars. This is 40 years ago. And I don't know how this related to other organisations. I was really only interested in mine. But I used to run a 3-day programme several times a year. And this was for people, I was based up in Manchester, so it's people in the Northwest who were heading up to retirement in 2-3 years into the future and just getting them ready. So I was leading some of the sessions and hosting other ones. So obviously I got somebody in to talk about finances because the post office then had a really good pension scheme. It was a final salary one, but people were going to get a lump sum, and what were they going to do with the 3 times pension that they were going to get as a lump sum? So I got somebody talking about finance, got somebody talking about health, and I always remember one of the nurses, Mary Berry, when somebody said, "Can I still have sex in later life?" And it's like, yes, as long as you've got a willing partner. And I think she said it every time, and it was quite fun. And it wasn't only the employee, and they were predominantly men, but it was their wives as well, because retirement is not just something you do on your own, you do with other people. And so we were talking about money, we were talking about health, we were thinking about as you get older and about making sure that your house was suitable for you. And I think they had somebody from the fire brigade who came down as well, talking about, making sure that your house was safe. And then I'd be talking about all the non-financial things, what you were going to do with your time, how your relationships were going to change. And looking back, it's like, that was really good work that I was doing. And it got amazing feedback. And I'm not sure if other people got anything like this. So that's how I started 40 odd years ago. 41, 42 maybe, goodness. And then as I've progressed in my career in life, I've carried on doing things. So that was for a chunk of my life. And then I got a promotion and I worked at the Management Training Centre for Royal Mail. And I was involved with recruitment, but I was also involved in redundancy. And I was still getting involved in retirement and helping people to move on. And then as the years go by, that continued to be part of my work. And I was doing similar things to what I'd always done. Later, I became self-employed. I set myself up as a freelance consultant, and I was running pre-retirement seminars with financial services companies, doing the non-financial bit with them. And then things have progressed and got deeper. In this next section, I'm going to talk about my doctoral research. So they got deeper in 2018, I started thinking about it, and I wanted to do a doctorate. I really wanted to go deeper into a particular area. And my background is as an occupational psychologist. I'm a chartered psychologist. I'm a member of the British Psychological Society. I'm an associate fellow, in fact. So I've got my master's degree in occupational psychology. So when you come to do a doctorate, you go with a department. So my department was the occupational psychology one. And my research had to be related to the workplace. So I researched how people find meaning in life after full-time work, the retirement transition, and what are the psychological factors that help. Because that was really interesting. What is it about our personality that can help retirement go more smoothly, as to age better, etc. And I'll cover that in a separate video, because I think that's really interesting. That's really, really interesting. So getting taken on to do my doctorate, getting my supervisor and everything, I started in the October, and then in February it was lockdown. So that became my full-time job. So what I thought was going to take me longer to do it part-time, it was all I did. And it was really interesting because it gave me focus. So I was researching I mean, how you do the research is you're beginning to look at whatever other people have written. And I focused on any research with people that had been retired for more than 2 years, because the first 2 years of retirement were all in a state of flux, we're all doing different things. And again, I think that might be another topic to come back to, because this is the first of a series. I really want to sort of to share my knowledge, share my expertise, share the depth of what I know about retirement, because I know lots of us out there are just like, what am I going to do? And it's like, when people know about the books I've written, it's like people want to have deep conversations. So I'll be able to address them and send them to these videos. Okay, so I'm looking into the adjustment to retirement. This is 2 years on, the psychological factors that help. It's really useful research. And, you know, I became Dr. Taylor in 2021. So goodness, that's 4 years ago. I've had my doctorate and I was 64. And what the people who checked me out for the Viva were saying was, well, one of the things they were saying was like, you know, you're quite a rarity, Denise, because you're researching retirement and you're approaching retirement yourself. And I go like, yeah, I know. So it's quite interesting to actually, you know, push myself. You know, it certainly wasn't easy to get back into study after all of this time. So I did the research, published my doctorate that goes out and academics will read it, but you know, it's a bit heavy. So then it's like, how am I going to share the knowledge? I'll now talk about some related books and the importance of ensuring that everything I write about is evidence-based. And I brought a book out 2 years ago with Routledge called Rethinking Retirement for Positive Aging. And that was to bring all my academic research, but to put it in book form. So I guess it's still, I wouldn't call it heavy, but it's got academic references. So nothing in there is there unless there's an academic background to support it. So it's what they call evidence-based. And it was really interesting writing this book because 10 years ago, in 2016, I wrote Find Work at 50 Plus. And I was commissioned to write that book because they recognised that a lot of books about finding a job were all aimed at younger people. So from then, I've been noted as somebody who really understands people at 50 and beyond. And I was in my 50s when I wrote this, and I wrote Rethinking Retirement when I was in my 60s. So that's where my background comes, and that's where everything I talk about sits in. It's lived experience with getting older. It's the clients I've been working with, because well over 10 years, maybe 15 years, maybe longer, I've been working with clients that come and work with me because they're approaching retirement and not sure what to do. Do I stay? Do I go? What is it that I want to do? But my the way people see me out there in a professional stand has continued. And in October 2025, I brought out a book, Career Coaching for Midlife and Beyond. And again, I was approached to write that book because they realised that a lot of people who are doing careers coaching don't really understand what it's like to work with an older age group. So again, you know, this is where Denise is at. Denise talks for people that are older. So I have a wealth of books. I mean, my first book, well, I've done another video about that, but like way back in, I think it was 2007, I wrote a book, How to Find a Job in a Recession, and the books have continued, and I've got another book coming out in a few months' time that I will talk about in another video. But I just wanted in this first video just to set the scene, so you know a bit about my background, you know that anything I share is well researched. There's a lot of people out there who's talking about retirement from lived experience, and I think, you know, they can share some good stuff. But I think where I come in and where I add, where other people don't, is about my academic knowledge. So I'm Dr. Denise Taylor. I write about aging. I don't just write about books. I have articles published on the national press. I've had 3 over the past few weeks out in the iNewspaper. And there'll be some links below if you want to read more about what I produce online. I write for Substack. I have my own little Substack, which has been going for nearly 2 years, and I've got articles in the press, etc. So what's coming next? But I will be doing more of these videos to help you understand more about moving into later life. I want to answer the questions that you've probably got. So if you have any questions, then feel free to ask them, and in time I'll hopefully create a video about those as well. But until next time, it's Dr. Denise talking about retirement and later life, and how we can all go into later life in a conscious way, that we're aging in a way that is perfect for us, because we're all different. You can't lump us all together. Till next time, bye-bye. If you'd like to explore further, you can reach me on my website, denisetaylor.co.uk, or follow me on Substack. It's Aging Reimagined. Thank you for watching.